Hey, y'all, what's happening? This is Broke Capitalist coming at you. And today we're going to continue our conversation with Coupe Media. My man Rodrigo over at Coupe Media, we're talking about the effects of socialism on the Black community specifically and America in general. So everybody is included in this conversation, right? The conversation in its entirety is about 2 hours long. So if you're a go-getter, I'll leave the link to the conversation in the description. But around the 60-minute mark, I make a horrible mistake, and I say that socialism is responsible for giving us Madam C.J. Walker. And if you don't know who she is, she's the first self-made female millionaire who happened to be Black. And she did this way back in the day. No, socialism did not give us Madam C.J. Walker. Capitalism did. So just want to make that correction. Hey, I'm going to start giving some advice about what these conversations pair with, like a wine pairing thing. Bourbon, highly recommended. And if you don't drink, tea. I don't know. They're often the same color. That's all. Hey, but bourbon goes very well with this conversation. If you can find bourbon and pecan pie, I guarantee you're going to agree and like everything we say. Agree with and like everything we say. All right, now with that said, let's jump into this. As you may have noticed, I've made some changes around here. If you like this type of content, you want to, maybe dive into some content similar to this or on this level or on this side or whatever, check out the books that's below. All right, here we go. Within myself, I can take the risk, and if it pays off, I can be, everybody's not going to be Rockefeller, but I can create something that will create opportunities for others so that they could create something. And if I fail, hopefully I'll save money for that rainy day, which could lead to another subject of why our purchasing power is going through the roof. Down the drain, and it's really hard to save for that. So making capitalism really difficult to work. Well, basically, socialism is bad. And for people who look like us, we're the last major group of people who were in that institution that was backed by law. We should not want anything to do with socialism. We should be the last people talking about socialism.
And that's because, and it's so point. It's partly because of the leadership, right? We have a history of people doing the bad thing, right? We've never had people in there, at least. We've had a long time of just evil, corrupt politicians, right? But I do want to, because Aberman, right? He made up he mentioned a good point, right? He asked a couple questions and also made a very good point, right? Actually, before I get to this point, I think it's hilarious because he said, with freedom comes responsibility, though. But Brittany said, yeah, people don't appreciate responsibility these days, right? So to me, that's fucking hilarious, right? Because I agree. I'm sorry, I got to agree with Brittany there. But
self-responsibility is the starting point. I just want you guys to, I don't want to jump off into a tangent here, but just think about our society today. The very foundations of our society today. Got that? Whatever you're thinking about, and think about participation trophies. Where does self-responsibility, how do they coexist? When you're not responsible for the betterment of yourself, you just need to show up. All right.
Also, too, it shows they're coming from different perspectives and also different parts of the country, because I think Brittany's coming from Canada and Aberman say he's coming from Europe, right? And he goes on to say that Europe, I live in Europe, and we don't allow rubbish, additives or whatever, the fake stuff in your food or whatever, but in the food, and we have free healthcare system. However, some in the US might say that is socialism. And that's a great point. And I think that's that's something that the U.S. in general needs to get better at, right? When we say a term, we all have to agree what that term means, right? Because you could say socialism and to 10 different people, and it would give you 10 different answers, right? But you could also say that about very basic things in our economy, and the same thing would happen, right? So the average American just needs a better understanding of the world, right? Because we can't be having all this fake news go by and then even accept it, right? If enough people accept it, then it's real. No, right? There's this.
So terminology. I'm so glad Rodrigo brought this point up. We are so fixated on which camp you're in, socialist, Republican, Democrat, right? Even libertarian. And there's two terms that we never hear, and they're extremely important, and they're at the foundation of most debates. I would say 99% of the debates you will find at their base, right? The ideology concerning collectivism and the ideology concerning individualism, right? I just want to put that thought out there. I'll do another episode, or I'll do some episodes on these terms, but just to give you a hint, right? Socialism, communism, fascism, racism all fall under the umbrella of collectivism. Capitalism falls under the umbrella of individualism. That's a sneak peek. Again, if you haven't went and got it yet, or if it's too early in the morning where you're at, bourbon goes very well with this conversation.
Right and is wrong, right? So, but he's right. So I don't see that as socialism, right? Not putting stuff in your food and having free healthcare. I don't look at that as health. I don't look at that as socialism. What I look at that as is you have politicians who are trying to do the right thing, right? Obviously, they could be doing the wrong thing in different areas or whatever. But the reason why I say that is because by not putting that bullshit in your food, you're essentially keeping people healthier, right? Or you're trying to keep them healthier, right? And then you give them free healthcare, so they're not getting in the debt. You're helping yourself, right? Because if you put the bullshit in the food and you have the healthcare that's expensive, you're making it bad on both sides. Everybody loses in that situation except for the pharmaceutical companies, right? But if you are helping people eat better, right? You're teaching them about nutrition, right? You're telling them that they should go for a walk every once in a while. All you're doing is what's best for the people. And I think that's what everybody's goal should be. What's the common good for everybody, right? There should be basic stuff that every country, every city, every state should be working towards for free or reducing, right? Like there's no reason food should be going up. Like we've been cultivating food for thousands of years. Food should be going down. It should be close to zero, right? Then we should have no issues with water. We should have our healthcare system. If it could be free, it should be free. But it shouldn't be going higher. It should be dropping in cost, right? And that's, again, and that goes back to just a basic understanding of the world, right? We've accepted that things should be going up, that it's good that prices go up. Like, how dumb is it that you actually have people who are supposed to be smart, right, saying that things are better when things go up, right? Like, how dumb is that, right? So I just think there needs to be, like, I don't know. I don't know how you get a whole bunch of people like that smarter, right? Because supposedly people who are smart, right? People who got good jobs, right? They go to college, they think this. So how do you shift a whole group of people? I don't know, man. I don't know how I got down to this point, but good question, Dapper, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good social, like I lived in Japan and they had national healthcare as well, and I utilized that, and it was great, man. I mean, I'm there and I literally need an interpreter, and they can find an interpreter under that system. And yeah, you have to some of your freedoms were taken away in that it was like almost, I think it was mandated pretty much. You had to have health checks like twice a year. So when I was in City Hall, it was a day that it was a mobile hospital unit outside of City Hall. You had to go and get checked up, right? So you didn't have the freedom to not do that. That's a freedom I would gladly get. Let me clear something up. I was working at City Hall at the time. I was working for the municipal government of Fukuoka, and I was at City Hall when this mobile hospital unit came by. You didn't have to go to the mobile hospital unit. It came to us. So it was convenient, but you still had to get, I'm pretty sure, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but you had to get a health check. Give up, right? So, but the way it's proposed, so there's another saying that, the goal of socialism, everybody wants it, right? Everybody wants to be taken care of. Everybody wants to be comfortable. Everybody wants to be secure, but it's the means to get there, which is the problem. Do you get there by taking things from other people unjustly, right? Now, if everybody volunteered, which everybody used to do, right? Okay, and healthcare was a lot cheaper then, where you had these societies like St. Jude hospitals all over the place, and people will say this isn't realistic today, but I don't see why not. In some form, it can be done where you had people voluntarily giving money, and that money was allocated in a way that it wasn't wasted, where 90% of it goes to administration instead of to the goals it's trying to reach. If you had more of that and less regulations in the arena of healthcare, that could bring down the cost of healthcare so that everybody could afford it. Because at the end of the day, everybody wants affordable healthcare, not necessarily free healthcare. You just don't want to go bankrupt if your leg gets broke, right? So it's how do you get there? And in today's politicians, and even the way we think, we lean so far to the left, we don't even consider the other argument, right? Or not even argument, the other point of view, in that, okay, if we have national health care, which is like 6% of the national economy, that's giving up a lot of control of the US economy to administrators, right? And a lot of people don't want that. They want affordable health care, but they also want control over their own decisions. And that's the dichotomy. Here's the problem. The media, which I harp about all the time, and I know you don't look at it, but I'm bitching about it all day long. They won't even allow a counter view to that argument.
Keep talking, please.
Okay. I want to point out the dangers of what the media can do, right? I think a lot of us take it for granted that, the media is still Walter Cronkite, and we can just believe anything he says. True or false, the media, whether the information they are providing us is true or is false, it helps us with the reality we perceive. It helps us. If the weatherman says it's going to rain at 12, then I prepare myself by looking for an umbrella or something. If it doesn't rain, whatever, I'm prepared. But the information he gave me caused me to do something. So if the media is constantly pushing the point of view to the left, it has an effect on our reality, whether it's benign or, malevolent, right? I just want to point that out. They won't even allow a counter view to that argument. All we have is, if you don't like this, it's something wrong with you. You're rich and you don't care about poor people. You're uber right-leaning, ultra right-leaning. So they've been able to mask a legitimate concern or argument into something being not different, but damn near just evil. And who wants to entertain evil? Nobody. So I think that's how to go back to an observation you made of how we keep doing the same thing over and over again and we're not getting it, is because the debate is between, now it's not between like socialist leaning policies where you can consider that and say, some aspects of socialism like security sounds great. And aspects of capitalism, it's like, yeah, freedom to do your own thing, get rich. Capitalism brought more people out of poverty than anything, but the bad part is I can end up on the streets, right? We can't have that debate. We have now, well, capitalism is attached to racism. And so if you're a capitalist, you must be a racist, which in turn means you're evil. So I don't even need to listen to your argument. And so now we're just talking about what's the better degree of socialism, which is insane. Okay, I'm gonna end that there. Again, these conversations go great with bourbon. And if you're not a drinker, tea. All right, but I want to get a point across. We never talk about the fundamental differences, right? Which between, socialism and capitalism is individualism versus collectivism, right? And what our society has done since probably the 60s or the 50s is taking capitalism, well, the umbrella of individualism, which capitalism resides under, and somehow we've managed to push that out of that umbrella and over into the collectivism umbrella along with racism. I don't know if I'm losing people there, but under the individualism umbrella, you have capitalism. And pull yourself up by your bootstraps, independence. I'm free to make these mistakes. I'm free to, succeed, whatever. That's under the individualism umbrella. Under the collectivism umbrella, you have communism, socialism, fascism, and racism, which a very wise lady said is the crudest, most primitive form of collectivism. Racism is the crudest, most primitive form of racism reserved for brutes, right? Somehow we've connected, our society has connected capitalism with racism. And there lies the conundrum. We're confused. We don't even know what we're talking about, right? So, hey, stay tuned for the next episode of this conversation. Please like, share, and subscribe. But with the events going on with Big Media today, I have to suggest and request that you guys go check out the website, andrebdavis.com. Who knows if I'll be able to put this content out, but I don't want to lose you guys. Definitely just go to the website, put it in your bookmarks. We can have a conversation there. With that said, have a great day. And for the next conversation, if you didn't go get your bourbon or tea, go get it today and show up tomorrow with your bourbon and tea. All right, or tea, or both. All right, peace. I'm out. Talk to you guys later.